Welcome back, everyone, to The Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be looking at some really cool medical imaging technology. We're talking Nanox Imaging.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're a company that wants to make advanced imaging much more affordable and accessible. And I mean, these guys, they're really making a splash. They were even featured on the Times Best Inventions of 2024 list.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were showing off all their new stuff at Medica 2024. You know, that's one of the largest medical trade fairs in the world.
Yeah, that's huge. It's really ambitious, but I think it's great that there's a company out there trying to make this technology available globally. I mean, the potential impact on healthcare is massive, especially for those underserved areas.
Yeah, for sure. And to really get a sense of what they're doing, we're going straight to the source for this deep dive. We're going to be looking at Nanox's Q3 2024 earnings call transcript.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we'll be hearing from CEO Arrez Melcer and CFO Rand Daniel. And we'll also be pulling in some stock info from Yahoo Finance to see how the company's doing financially. So are you ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so Melcer jumps right in talking about their Nanox.ARC system. And you know what? They already have 47 units that are in various stages of deployment across 7 states in the U.S.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, and that's especially impressive when you consider they're really focusing on those standalone imaging centers and smaller medical imaging chains.
I see. So they're targeting more of a niche market. It's interesting because that could help them gain a foothold much faster. You know, there's way less bureaucracy than those larger hospital systems.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like a strategic way to build up their reputation and get their foot in the door. And they're not just stopping at the U.S., they're also working on getting regulatory clearance for general use in the U.S. and the CE mark in Europe. So that would really open things up for them.
Right, because those clearances are crucial for wider adoption, especially in markets with all those regulations like the US and Europe. I mean, it shows that their technology meets like all the necessary safety and efficacy standards.
Yeah, they need to prove they're the real deal. And it seems like they're really going all in on the U.S. market.
Yeah.
Melcer mentioned that they're doubling their sales and service teams. They're reaching out to those big imaging groups, and they're even putting together demo kits to let potential buyers try out the Nanox.ARC firsthand.
Smart. Those demo kits are a great idea. It's like, you know, potential buyers can see the technology in action and get a sense of how it would fit into their own workflow. Having that hands-on experience can be super persuasive.
Yeah, definitely. It's one thing to talk about the technology, but it's another to actually show people how it can improve patient care and make their lives easier. Okay, so let's shift gears for a second and talk about Nanox.ai. Melcer was very clear that this is not just some marketing thing. Their AI is delivering real-world results, especially for cardiac and bone health.
The use of AI in medical imaging is really cool. I mean, what I find most interesting is how it can detect patterns and anomalies that might be missed by the human eye, and that can lead to much earlier and more accurate diagnoses.
Exactly. For example, the UK's National Health Service, they used Nanox.ai in a trial to detect osteoporosis. And the results were kind of mind-blowing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they identified 6 times more patients with osteoporosis compared to traditional methods.
Wow. That's a big deal. Early detection of osteoporosis can prevent fractures and really improve quality of life, especially for older adults. This is a perfect example of how AI can shift healthcare from just being reactive treatment to more proactive prevention.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And it's not just the NHS who's noticing how great this technology is. Corewell Health, which is a pretty major healthcare system here in the U.S., is expanding their use of Nanox.ai too. They actually started with a cardiac health solution, and now they're adding the bone health solution as well.
That's a big vote of confidence. Seems like Nanox.ai is gaining traction and being integrated into those more sophisticated healthcare systems. It's not just a research project anymore. You know, it's a tool that's making a real difference.
It's the real deal. And get this, they're not stopping there. Nanox just launched a new bone management tool called Real Plus. And it's designed to manage the entire patient journey, from initial detection to treatment and ongoing care.
So they're thinking about the whole picture. Having a tool that streamlines everything from those follow-up exams to medication management could really make a huge difference for both patients and healthcare providers.
Totally. And they're already working on the next big thing, a pulmonary solution for early detection of lung cancer. It seems like they're always innovating.
It's great to see that.
But with all this growth and development, they're going to need a solid manufacturing base. And Melcer talked about how they're partnering with OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, and they're setting up technology development centers. All this to make sure they can keep up with demand.
That's a smart move. It shows that they're thinking about the future and how to scale up. Having reliable manufacturing partners is so crucial for any company, especially in the medical device industry where quality and consistency are key.
For sure. For instance, they've partnered with Varex to assemble Nanox.ARC tubes with their proprietary emitters. So this is a major step towards getting that large-scale production up and running.
Sounds like they're putting all the pieces in place for sustainable growth. I'm really interested to see how all this translates to their financial performance.
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Are they actually making any money? Let's see what CFO Rand Daniel has to say about all that.
Well, Daniel kicks things off by highlighting their teleradiology business, USARAD. It brought in a record $2.6 million in revenue this quarter.
It's really smart of them to have that steady income from that already established business, especially while they're putting so many resources into developing and launching the Nanox.ARC.
Right. It definitely gives them some breathing room financially. And in addition to that, they're also seeing strong growth in sales for all their AI solutions.
So things are looking pretty good on the revenue side. But how's the market reacting? What's the financial picture looking like, according to Yahoo Finance?
Okay, so as of today, November 21st, their stock is trading at $4.58 a share. The Yahoo Finance snapshot that we have doesn't actually list their market cap. But their stock has had a wild ride over the past year.
Oh, wow. How so?
Well, their 52-week high was $2.67, but the low was just 67 cents.
Whoa. That's a pretty big swing.
Yeah.
It shows there's definitely some risk involved, but also the potential for big rewards if Nanox can really deliver on its promises.
Exactly. Investors are keeping a close eye on them for sure. They're eager to see if they can pull off these ambitious plans.
It's that classic high-risk, high-reward situation.
You got it.
Which makes sense, though. They are operating in a field that is rapidly evolving. I mean, AI-powered diagnostics are totally changing the game, and Nanox is right there leading the way. It's exciting, but it definitely comes with uncertainty.
For sure. And their technology is really groundbreaking, but they still need to navigate that complex regulatory landscape and scale up manufacturing to meet that potential demand.
Yeah. That's a lot to handle. Okay, let's go back to those financials for a minute. Daniel mentioned their GAAP net loss for the quarter, which was $13.6 million.
Right. Now, that might sound kind of alarming at first, but it's actually an improvement from the $21.4 million loss from the same time last year.
So they're moving in the right direction. That's good.
It is.
What's driving that improvement?
Well, Daniel explained that a big part of last year's loss was due to a one-time impairment charge. So if you don't include that their underlying financial performance is even better than it looks.
Oh, okay. So basically they're spending more on research and development than they're making right now. But that gap is getting smaller, which is a good sign.
Right. It suggests that they're getting more efficient with their spending.
Exactly.
And it's important to remember that they still have a good chunk of change in the bank. $57.1 million in cash as of September 30th, plus a small loan of $3.4 million.
That gives them some runway to keep investing in their growth and hit those big milestones. Sounds like they're in a decent position overall.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. They've got a bold vision, game-changing technology, and the financial resources to make it happen. I'm really fascinated to see how they continue to develop and disrupt this healthcare industry over the next few years.
Now, before we wrap up, let's go back to that thought-provoking question from earlier. Given how fast AI-powered diagnostics are advancing and Nanox's ambitious expansion plans, how do you think this is all going to reshape the healthcare landscape in the next 5 years?
That's a good question. Just imagine a world where early disease detection is just the norm, leading to more effective preventative care and personalized treatment plans.
It could revolutionize how we think about healthcare altogether. Instead of waiting for symptoms to pop up, we could identify potential issues right away and be proactive. The benefits for patients and the whole healthcare system are huge.
Right. It's a future with so many exciting possibilities. But of course, it brings up some important questions too, like about access and affordability, and the ethical side of using AI in healthcare.
Those are really crucial things to think about,
Yeah.
especially as this technology keeps evolving. But for now, Nanox is definitely a company to keep an eye on. They're pushing boundaries and challenging the status quo.
I agree.
And that's something we can all get behind.
Yeah.
It really is a brave new world, huh?
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about real people's lives here. All these decisions about healthcare technology, they affect us all.
Absolutely. We have to think about all the ethical implications and make sure this technology is used responsibly and fairly. We need to make sure everyone benefits, not just a select few.
You know, I completely agree. Access and affordability are key. It's awesome that Nanox is trying to make medical imaging more accessible. But this is a conversation that needs to happen on a much larger scale. How can we make these advancements available to everyone, regardless of their income or where they live?
That's the tricky part. We need to find that balance between innovation and social responsibility. It's a challenge for sure, but we can't just ignore it. It's a conversation that needs to involve everyone: policymakers, healthcare providers, tech companies, and most importantly, the patients.
Exactly. Everyone needs to be at the table to figure this out. But for now, let's zoom back in on Nanox. We've covered their technology, their growth strategy, and their financials. What are your overall thoughts? What stands out to you about this company?
Well, what really impresses me is their dedication to innovation. They're not just satisfied with making one product and stopping there. They're always looking for new ways to use their technology, and they're putting a lot of resources into research and development. That kind of forward thinking is what makes them different.
I see that too. They're always looking for the next big thing. And it seems to be working. They're getting attention, making partnerships, and really shaking things up in the industry. But they're also being smart about it, building a strong base for growth, making sure they can manufacture what they need, and getting their finances in order.
It's a great mix of ambition and practicality. They have this huge vision, but they're also taking those real steps to make it a reality.
It's a pretty cool story to follow.
Yeah, it is.
Well, this has been a super interesting deep dive into the world of Nanox Imaging. We've learned about their awesome technology, their ambitious plans, and the huge potential impact they could have on healthcare.
It's clear that they're a company at the forefront of innovation, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in medical imaging. This is just the beginning of their story, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
Me too. And we want to hear from you. How do you think AI-powered diagnostics like the ones Nanox is developing are going to shape the future of healthcare? Head over to our website or find us on social media and let us know what you think.
It's a conversation that affects us all, so let's keep it going. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.